In this tutorial, we'll take a look at the questions on the Accuplacer Sentence Skills test that ask you to imagine and reconstruct the sentence according to specific directions. Let's start by taking a look at how these questions are structured. Notice that each question begins with a sentence, and there's nothing wrong grammatically or structurally with the sentence. In these types of questions, you're being asked to imagine and construct a new sentence that preserves that original meaning, that says the same thing as the original sentence. Below the original sentence are the instructions to follow when creating your new sentence. These instructions vary from question to question, so pay close attention to them and make sure that you are, in fact, creating a new sentence that follows these specific parameters. Finally, you have 4 choices of words or phrases or passages to choose from. You don't get a choice of a full sentence to replace the first one. And you have to be careful because what you're asked is which of the choices will be included, will be part of this sentence that you reconstruct. Remember that you can use your scrap paper that you're given when you enter the testing facility to actually write out sentences, including the passages that you're given, to figure out which one makes the best sense, preserves the meaning of the original, and is grammatically correct. As we work through this tutorial, remember that you can pause while you're thinking about your own answers, skip ahead if you get a question correct, or rewind at any time and replay. Let's move on and work through some of these questions. So let's take a look at this first question. Those who need to expedite the process of getting a passport must pay an additional $60 plus delivery charges. And we're asked to rewrite that sentence beginning with the passage, "You may obtain an expedited passport by." The best solution here for preserving the meaning of the original sentence is B, paying a fee of $60. A sentence using that passage might read, "You may obtain an expedited passport by paying a fee of $60 plus delivery charges." A is problematic because the resulting sentence would have a verb tense shift. The two verbs wouldn't match up. You may obtain an expedited passport by having paid a fee of $60 plus delivery charges. In that case, we have verbs in 2 different tenses, and that's why that option isn't correct. C is problematic because we're not asked to deliver $60 in the original sentence. We're asked to pay. So a sentence using option C might read, "You may obtain an expedited passport by delivering $60 to pay a fee plus delivery charges." So that doesn't preserve the original meaning of the sentence, and that wording is inaccurate and a little awkward. D, is expediting the process. You may obtain an expedited passport by expediting the process. This sentence is problematic because what we have is the second part of the sentence is simply saying the same thing as the first. So that doesn't work or preserve the meaning of the original sentence either. Okay, here's number 2. The Geneva Peace Accords, signed by France and Vietnam in the summer of 1954, reflected the strains of the international Cold War. And we're instructed to rewrite this sentence beginning with the passage, "In the summer of 1954. Our 4 choices are A, which we're reflecting, B, which also reflecting, C, also reflecting, and D, which reflected. The best answer here is D, which reflected. We can imagine a sentence that might read like this. In the summer of 1954, France and Vietnam signed the Geneva Peace Accords, which reflected the strains of the international Cold War. If we chose option A, we would have, which we're reflecting, we'd have a problem with the verb tenses not agreeing. The sentence might read, in the summer of 1954, France and Vietnam signed the Geneva Peace Accords, which were reflecting. And that is problematic. We don't want signed in one form and which were reflecting in a different form. The next choice, B, doesn't work either. Which also reflecting is awkward wording and also lacks a helping verb. So a sentence might read, in the summer of 1954, which also reflecting the strains of the international Cold War, France and Vietnam signed the Geneva Peace Accords. So that's awkward phrasing right there, and there is a missing helping verb for one of those ing verbs. So B doesn't work. C, also reflecting, is problematic. A sentence using that might read, in the summer of 1954, France and Vietnam signed the Geneva Peace Accords, also reflecting the strains of the international Cold War. This is problematic because this wording changes the meaning of the original sentence. Let's give number 3 a try. While many children outgrow allergies to foods such as milk or eggs, most kids don't outgrow peanut allergy as they get older. And we are asked to rewrite this sentence beginning with, most kids don't outgrow peanut allergies. And then notice that we're asked to predict what the next words would be after that passage. Of the 4 choices we're given, A, however they did, B, although they do, C, while they have, and D, however they don't, B, although they do, is the best option. If we imagine a sentence using option A, it might read like this. Most kids don't outgrow peanut allergies, however they did outgrow allergies to milk or eggs. So we have a problem right here with a verb tense shift from don't to did, and that would not be correct. C, while they have, is problematic also. Most kids don't outgrow peanut allergies while they have allergies to foods such as milk or eggs. This doesn't work because this wording actually changes the meaning of the original sentence. Option D forces us into making an important or a serious grammar error. If we write a sentence, most kids don't outgrow peanut allergies, however they don't stay allergic to milk or eggs, we have a problem here of a comma after however, which creates a comma splice run-on. To use that construction, you'd need a semicolon before the however. Okay, so let's try question 4. Nearly 8,000 people in the United States are bitten by poisonous snakes each year. And we are directed to rewrite the sentence beginning with the words, each year nearly 8,000 people receive. Our 4 choices include A, bites from poisonous snakes, B, poisoning from snakes, C, snake bite poisoning, and D, poisonous snake bites. Option A, bites from poisonous snakes, best preserves the original meaning of the sentence. B, poisoning from snakes, is a problem. We might have a sentence that reads, each year nearly 8,000 people receive poisoning from snakes bitten in the United States. We're trying to get all that information in there, and it isn't accurate. First of all, it doesn't say that the people receive poisoning. And secondly, it seems to be talking about snakes that are bitten. So this is awkward wording and a change of meaning of the sentence, so it doesn't work. C, snake bite poisoning, doesn't exactly work either, because the sentence doesn't say that the people who are bitten are all receive poisoning, and it's possible that they could be bitten by a snake that for some reason already expelled its venom, or there could be, and maybe they're immune to the poisoning or to the poison. So this sentence doesn't preserve the accuracy of that first sentence, or it's inaccurate because it doesn't preserve the meaning of the first sentence. D is also worded strangely, and it distorts the meaning of the original sentence. Snake bites from poison. So if we used that, each year nearly 8,000 people receive snake bites from poison in the United States, we're suggesting that the snake bites somehow come from poison and not snakes. So that doesn't make sense. Here's question 5. The Woodstock Music and Art Fair, held at a 600-acre dairy farm in Bethel, New York, featured 32 acts that performed for 500,000 concert-goers. And we're asked to rewrite the sentence beginning with the words, "at the Woodstock Music and Art Fair, which was held." So we need to choose the one of the 4 options that would be included in the sentence. And the options are: the concert-goers had watched, concert-goers watching, concert-goers having watched, and performed for concert-goers. And it looks like the best option here would be D, performed for concert-goers. At the Woodstock Music and Art Fair, which was held at a 600-acre dairy farm in Bethel, New York, 32 acts performed for concert-goers. So that sentence would preserve the meaning of the original and is worded most smoothly. A, concert-goers had watched. If we imagine a sentence, it might read like this: at the Woodstock Music and Art Fair, which was held at a 600-acre dairy farm in Bethel, New York, concert-goers had watched 32 acts perform. This is a problem because we have a verb tense shift, had watched and was held. And so these verb tenses don't match, so this is not a good option. B, you can tell, is problematic because we have concert-goers watching, so it's an ing verb that doesn't have a helping verb. So that is not a good option for this sentence either. The next option, C, concert-goers having watched, it's a clunky construction, an awkward verb tense. The wording isn't good, and a sentence including that: at the Woodstock Music and Art Fair, which was held at a 600-acre dairy farm in Bethel, New York, concert-goers having watched 32 acts perform. It just doesn't work well. It's not smooth, and the verb tense isn't correct. And here is question 6. Although the Great Leap Forward was an economic plan aimed to modernize China, it resulted in widespread famine and consequently millions of deaths. And we're directed to rewrite the sentence beginning with the words, millions of people starved during. And we're asked to predict which of the following would be included in a correct sentence. A, was an economic plan. B, being an economic plan. C, having been an economic plan. And D, having planned. The best answer here is A. Millions of people starved during the Great Leap Forward, which was an economic plan aimed to modernize China. B, being an economic plan, is problematic. We don't like to use being in academic writing, and because already it's a form of to be, and it's an ing verb that would need a helping verb in addition. So that construction doesn't work here. C, having been an economic plan. This is a long, convoluted verb construction that you really don't need. Millions of people starved during the Great Leap Forward, having been an economic plan. So this is awkward construction that really doesn't make sense. And D, millions of people starved during the Great Leap Forward, the Chinese government having planned to modernize China. Again, it's awkward wording, and it does not clearly express the same idea in the original. If you haven't already reviewed Sentence Skills Test Prep Part 1, go ahead and look at the explanations for the kinds of sentences where you're asked to replace an underlined passage or word with one of the choices given.